Before the industrial era, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was about 280 parts per million. By 1960, it had already risen to 315 ppm. Today, it exceeds 420 ppm, a level the Earth has not experienced for millions of years. This sharp increase is driven by human activity and is one of the main causes of climate change. As CO2 concentration rise, global temperature increase. We see more frequent and more intense heat waves, floods, and droughts. Sea levels are rising. These changes threaten ecosystems, infrastructure, and communities around the world. Even with strong climate policies, global CO2 emissions remain extremely high. According to the IPCC, cumulative emissions this century could reach between 3,500 and more than 8,000 gigatons of CO2 if mitigation is delayed. This tells us something important. Reducing emission is essential, but it's not enough. We also need to manage CO2 that continues to be produced, especially from hard-to-abate sectors like cement, steel, and chemical industries. Climate stabilization scenarios show that hundreds to thousands of gigatons of CO2 will need to be permanently stored during this century to limit global warming. So this leads to a fundamental question. Where can we safely store such enormous amounts of CO2? One promising solution is geological storage. When CO2 is injected deep underground, several trapping mechanisms work together and they operate over different timescales. At the beginning, CO2 is trapped structurally beneath an impermeable caprock. Then some of it becomes immobilized in the pore space. This is called residual trapping, and it increases storage security. Over longer periods, CO2 dissolves in the formation water, and eventually it reacts with the minerals to form solid carbonates, the most secure form of storage. In other words, storage security increases over time. The CO2 gradually transforms from a mobile fluid into a stable, permanent form. Among all available options, geological storage is currently the only technology capable of operating at the gigaton scales. It involves injecting CO2 into deep porous rock formations that are sealed by a low permeability caprock. Global estimates suggest that deep saline formation alone could store at least 1,000 gigatons of CO2 and possibly much more. But the success of this approach depends on one critical factor: the long-term integrity of the caprock. And this is exactly the focus of my PhD research. I study how the caprock behaves during the CO2 injection. More specifically, I use numerical simulations to investigate the coupled thermal, hydraulic, mechanical, and chemical processes that occur underground. I analyze how pressure changes, fluid flow, chemical reactions, and mechanical deformation interact, and how they may affect caprock stability and sealing capacity over time. Now imagine storing CO2 beneath your city, not for years, but for hundreds or even thousands of years. Would you trust the rock above it? My research aimed to provide the scientific evidence needed to confidently answer yes. By improving risk assessment, site selection, and long-term safety evaluation, this work supports one of the key technologies required to achieve net zero emissions. And this is the goal of my PhD.